the purpose of this presentation should be a very quick presentation in that we're going to talk about how to make a website or web page, for lack of a better word, using Adobe Portfolio. And this should only take about a half hour to do. And then later, if you have questions on how to do it, or if you want to somehow link up, I can help you do this. It's a couple prerequisites. First is you need to have an Adobe subscription. If you're not using Adobe, this won't work. Adobe Portfolio is included in the price of the photographer's plan, which I believe is $10 a month, $120 a year. The other thing is you have to have room on your Adobe Cloud, which I think the included amount is 20 gigabytes. Is that right? And then the other thing is helpful is if you know how to make collections within Lightroom. So let me go real quick. I will make a collection simply because it was part of I thought somebody might not have the knowledge of how to do that. So I'm going to share my screen. So if you look here, this is some photographs that I took, and I put them into a special folder called Thousand Oaks Photo Group Portfolio Demonstration. And here's some expert photography. I took some pictures of numbers, 5 photographs, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And what I'm going to do is make a collection called numbers. And what will happen ultimately is that collection, we're going to sync that collection with Adobe's cloud, and you'll see the importance of that here in just a second. So you'll see here that I don't have any collection by the name of numbers. So I'm going to create a collection called numbers. I set it as a target collection here. And then I'm also going to sync it with Lightroom. That means Lightroom on the web. Okay. So if I did things right, you'll see that this is being synced right here. That shows that if you click that on or off with the little lightning bolt, that means that the collection is being synced with the within the cloud of Adobe. And you'll see here's the name of the collection, and this plus means, of course, that's the target collection. So let me go back up here to my numbers. I'm going to select them all, and then I'm just going to add them to the collection. And I'm sure you know this, but one way to add things to the target collection is just hit B, and it adds everything to the target collection. Is everybody on board so far?
Yes.
All right. Okay. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to sign on to Adobe's Portfolio portal, you might say. And so I'm going to go to photography. This is just my bookmarks, portfolio.adobe. And I'm already signed in. So this right here, you can actually have up to 5 websites used for free with the Adobe subscription. So this hipcoyote.com is the one that I actually put together for myself. But what we're going to do is make a new website using, it should only take about 30 minutes to do, if that. So I've already signed in. And because I've already signed in, you'll see where it says, welcome, Richard. This becomes kind of important in a minute because when we create our website, it's going to attach my name to that website. So we're going to do new site. You can do a welcome page, which is just a single standalone page, or you could do a full portfolio, which will have multiple pages with the photos in our collections or photos that we upload ultimately. So I'm going to do a full portfolio, and we're going to use, this is called the Ludwig theme. There's all kinds of themes on here. They're kind of similar. I just chose Ludwig just because I like the black background, and it's really one of the simpler themes that you can use. So I'm going to use Ludwig. So this is what Ludwig, the model of Ludwig, looks like. I'm going to use this theme. So what's happening is you will notice that already at the top of this one page, and this is basically the work page, it already has my name, Richard Webb, and there's already two, for lack of a better word, pages. There's a work page, or what it calls work, which inside it's going to have a bunch of pages that we can add of our photographs. And there's already a contact capability for this. So if when you do your web page, somebody will write you an email saying what a wonderful photographer you are, or aren't in my case, and they send you an email. It automatically goes to the email that's on account with the Adobe photographer's plan that you've already paid for. So this is all filled in ahead of time automatically by Adobe. So what we're going to do is, this is kind of what we would call over here off to the left is kind of our home screen. I call it the essentials page. And what we're going to do, let me make sure I'm good on my notes here. Let's do this first. Let's create a welcome page. So what'll happen, and it'll make sense in a second. The welcome page is the first page that anybody that's going to your website will see. It's not going to be a collection of your photographs. It's going to be a portal or a way to get to your collection. So what we're going to do is we're going to hit add a page up here. See this blue plus sign, and we're going to add a welcome page. And we're going to title this TOPG photography. And because this is such a simple program, there's only three options for the user to select. Centered, which is just narrative, 50-50 left, 50-50 right. And it'll make sense here in a second. On the left, 50-50 left means that you get to have narrative on the left and a picture on the right. Usually would be your photograph of yourself or something you find important. So the welcome page is going to be called the home page. It's going to be when somebody types in your web page URL, then this is going to be the first thing they see. So my welcome page is TOPG photography, and I'm going to make this my home page. Create. Very easy so far. So it's kind of self-explanatory over here on the right. I want to add my photograph to my web page, to my welcome page, so that people will recognize me when they go to my web page. So I'm going to click to upload an image. You can also upload video. This happens to be the photograph that I've chosen. I'm uploading it, and there's the photograph of me when I was a little bit younger. Okay, so all I did was add a photograph of, could be me or whatever you want. So this is going to be on the welcome page. So now you'll notice that the welcome page has my name on it. What you can do is you can edit the text here, just like you would any other editor. Because of this particular font, it's in all caps. You can change to another font and you can get upper and lower, but for some reason, Ludwig starts in all caps. So we can say, welcome to the TOPG web page. And you can write, a paragraph here or whatever you would like to do. So the other thing that comes standard on the welcome page is there's going to be this thing called this button, and there's some social media buttons as well that we can eventually add. So what we want to do is we have the welcome page, and we want to be able to go into our collection of photographs so that people can see the photographs, the reason why they're there on our web page. So all you have to do, here's the edit this button. Go up here, you just kind of float over this area. button. We're going to edit the button. And you'll notice over here, this particular left-hand box, you might say, change to edit button. So this is the text for the button. So what we're going to call this my work, or you could call it my photos. How about that? And then what do we want to, once we press this button, what do we want it to link to? In other words, when we press a button, where is it going to go? And what we want it to do is go to, um, when you, there's a couple of, well, let me back up here. When you start this whole thing, there's a couple of pages that are already filled in for you. There's your welcome page, and there's what is known as a work page. The work is going to be where you put all your photographs. This is the welcome page. This is the work page. Okay, it's always going to be there when you start this with this whole process. So we're going to edit this button. Okay, we've already added the name of we've changed the name or the fonts on the name of this button, but now what do we want this button to do? We want to link this button to work. So when somebody presses this button, it's going to switch over to what you'll see eventually is a matrix of collections of our photographs. Okay. One thing you can do in Adobe Portfolio is you can, down here in the lower left, you hit preview, and it'll show you what your web page is essentially going to look like. All right. So here's my photo or Clark Gable. Here's my name. Here's that little bit that we typed in. Here's my button, my photos. And then if we were to press on it, then it's going to go over to work. All right. So we're not going to publish the site yet. We're just going to go back to edit. Okay. So here's our welcome page or home page, whatever you want to call it. And now we're going to start adding photographs under here, under work. And you'll see see these 9 dots here? That's essentially what your photographs, how they're going to be organized. So let's do this. We're going to go to work. I've pressed on work, and it's very simple. This is what's going to, let me move this out of the way. We're just going to add a page right here. Add a page, and you have 2 options here. You can have a custom name page, which we'll get to in a minute, or using Lightroom. You may recall that we just synced a collection into Lightroom. When you do that on your desktop, it's called a collection, but in the cloud and on the like Lightroom mobile and all that stuff, oddly, it's called an album. So we're going to add a Lightroom album to our web page. What'll happen is the Adobe will go straight over to collections that you have synced to the cloud. So you will notice that I synced the numbers earlier. I made my collection of numbers. I synced that to the cloud. So what I want to do is add, let's say my first batch or collection of photos is going to be my numbers. So I'm going to click on numbers, and I'm simply going to import the selected. And there we go. Works like magic. Now, what we want to do is add another collection. So we're going to go over here to pages, go to work. Okay, so I'm having a problem with the Zoom in my way. So we've already added numbers here. So let's add some more photographs that I've already made in from a collection that has already been synced up to the Adobe Cloud. So I'm going to add a second page here. So I've hit the plus page. I'm going to hit the Lightroom album. And I made a collection called Milan Zermatt. We did a trip in Italy and Switzerland not too long ago. These are only like 4 or 5 photos. So I'm going to add that to the collection. Okay, so you'll see that this is what the Milan Zermatt page would look like. But when we go to our work, we have Milan Zermatt. You'll see all the photos. Go back to work. We have our numbers. Go back to work. Let's add another page. So again, this time I'm going to add yet another Lightroom album that has been synced via the Adobe Cloud. This time I'm going to sync Pontresina. This is what Pontresina would look like. So when we go back up here to work, what's kind of cool is when you hover your mouse over that particular page, I'm hovering over Pontresina, it tells you this is the Pontresina page and when the page was created. You can edit this as well. So for example, if you went to Pontresina in 2022, you can edit this so that it's 2022. So we have Pontresina, Milan Zermatt, and we have the numbers. Okay, but let's say that you don't have collections or for some reason you want to do something a little bit differently and you want to make a custom page. So we can add a page. Hopefully this works out. We're going to add a custom page. And we're going to call this custom page letters. The destination is going to be in that collection called work. We're going to create a page. And so here's the title of that particular page. And what is it we want to do with this page? Do we want to get something out of Lightroom? We want to put text there, like if you want to talk about equipment or your philosophy of life, what is it you want to do? But what you can also do is, let's see. So I hit photo grid, and what we're going to do is just upload files directly from our hard drive. So we're skipping the collection stuff that we did earlier. So I happen to have created some other photos called letters. And what I want to do is upload all those letters to the Adobe Cloud. So I went to that folder, selected all the photos that I want, and I hit open. And it creates the page of letters. So we go back here to work, which is kind of our collection of photographs. We have our letters, we have Pontresina, Milan Zermatt, and our numbers. So are there any questions with regard to that? Okay. So let me look at my stuff here.
I have a question.
Yeah,
I noticed that you did most of these with collections, but with the letters, you did it just from your hard drive. Does that mean you don't have to have collections in order to create your page?
that's correct. Yeah. You do not have to use collections to make a page. What you have to do is end up designating those photographs directly off your hard drive, or I assume a cloud drive as well, like if you're using Dropbox, and it will upload those images into Adobe Portfolio. The one thing that I figured out because I created a couple different web pages in preparation for this class is if you have a collection, and let's say you have a collection called Pontresina, and you've used that collection in another web page created in Adobe Portfolio, for some reason, Adobe Portfolio will not let you use that same collection in another web page. So in that particular case, you may want to just upload those photos for a separate web page via the method I just showed, which is essentially getting them off of the hard drive rather than using collections. The other option would be to have, if you're trying to do Pontresina and you want to have it on a couple of different web pages with different web names, you could do like Pontresina 1 and 2 or something like that. But yeah, you don't have to create a collection. The collection just creates it's a seamless way to do it.
But that
Does that,
also uploads them to the cloud then when you do that
yes,
from hard drive.
yeah. And as I recall, I believe it's a thumbnail because the other thing about Adobe Portfolio is it's not a, a site that you would, let's say, use for commerce or even for family that would want to go to that site and download the photos. It does not do that. It is simply a display. It's essentially a photo album of your work, and that's it. There's no commercial aspects to Portfolio. There's no way to download the photographs. We're going to talk about right clicking and maybe capturing your photographs just off of a screenshot or right clicking, but it does not have any commercial value whatsoever. Okay. So here we are. So if you recall, there's three things up here. This TOPG photography is our home page. This is what it looks like right now. If we click this, that's my photos. It goes over to essentially our collections of photographs. Now, the one thing that I failed to mention, or I didn't fail, but I wanted to do a little bit later, is um, if you do want to add social profiles, Facebook, etc., it's really pretty easy to do. All you do is click Add Social Profiles, and what you'll see over here, and I'm currently off of Facebook. I got a little bit tired of all the insanity on there for right now. But if you click on this, click to add social profiles, you'll notice all the various social media sites that you can put your link onto. And what I did in the past is I went to my Facebook homepage. Once I got to my Facebook page, I simply copied the Mike with the term URL, be correct, um, up here at the top, and then I copied that and pasted it into my Facebook link, you might say, or this Facebook box, and then this little Facebook icon here was present down here somewhere on my home page or the welcome page. So right now I do not have any social profiles, so I'm going to delete them. Now, the other thing is, how do people get a hold of you? Right now, if we go to my photos, they can contact you. And this is what the contact page looks like. They'll put their name, their email address, their message, and then they'll submit it. And it gets sent to you automatically because they already know, Adobe already knows what your um, email address is. But one thing you can do off of your welcome page or your home page is you can add another button. You can also add images, text, a bunch of other things, but let's add a button. You can put that contact form here, but I just like the button. And so you'll see that my photos button got moved to the right. Now we got to edit this button here. So we're going to, all I'm doing is hovering over this, edit the button. This opens up. We're going to call this button contact. And it's going to link to the contact form. Okay. Now, if you're ever in the middle of making this simple web page and get a little bit confused of what this thing's going to look like, you can always go down here to the lower left where it says preview. So this is what my opening page would look like. Here's Richard Webb. Here's my photograph. This gets me to my photos. Hopefully this gets me to the contact form. Very simple. If people go back up here to this, it should go back to your home page. Is everybody with me so far? All right. So we're going to go, we could either publish the site, which we're not ready to do yet, or we're going to go back to edit. This is kind of our essentials page. And a couple things that I'm going to have to refer to my notes. So let's say, take a look at Pontresina here. And we want to take a look at the photos, but I don't like the white around my photos. I like a dark background. I don't want to see um, the stuff at the top. I don't want to see anything. I want it to be dark. So what we're going to do is get out of this. And the way to make this dark is this. Under this cog right here called settings, we're going to hit that. Let me double check my notes. Actually, it's dark in my room here. So to make that background dark, we're going to go to settings, and this is what pops up. Then we're going to go to site options. We're going to go to light box for images. Right now, this is what the color is of that background. I want it to be black. So I'm going to go down here with my color selector. There we go. Done. Done. So now let's see what the photograph would look like when I click on it. So at least the background here is black. And then at least in Mozilla Firefox, if you hit F11, you can actually get an entire black screen. And then just like any other website, you just go through the photographs and it'll go in a loop. Okay. Go back to my work. Hover over this, you're getting letters. Hover over that, you get Pontresina, numbers, Milan. So we click on numbers. We want to take a look at numbers. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, a couple more things in settings. Let's go back to settings. Site options. We want to disable the right click to protect your images. Very simple. So let's do that. Now, let's go back to work for a second. And let's say that I don't want the letter A when you go to my work page. I don't want the letter A. I want the letter B or C. Okay, I want the letter B or C. I'll figure out which one I want. So to change the photo page cover photo from the work collection, all you have to do is hover the mouse over that particular page that you want. Go up here where the little pencil where it says page, and we're going to edit the cover image. Off to the left here, it's showing you that A is currently the cover image, but I want C as the cover image. Okay, so now you will see that C is the cover image here. I want to change the Pontresina. I don't want this building. I want something else. Edit cover image. This is kind of a boring image, so I want something a little bit more cool. That's going to be my cover image. All right. Kind of cool. So let's go back to work. Now, the other thing that we can do too is let's say we're going to Pontresina here, and I want these photos in a different order, right? I don't want to see this first, even though it's not the cover photo, it still is in first up to be viewed. So I want to put something else as first. All right. So when somebody really goes to it, let's say I want them to see the David. So what we're going to do, we're going over the Pontresina page up here to the photo grid, click on it. We're going to manage the images. Now, when you manage the images, there's a couple things you can do. One, you can drag these in any order you want. Well, let's do this. All right, so I want my skateboarder here. You can also add captions. Okay, and there we go. So you can reorder these photographs any way you want. Even though this photograph is first up when you start looking through that particular page, I think we put another page as the cover page, correct? No, I guess we didn't. I used the same. So what I'm saying is just because this is a cover page, it doesn't have to be the first page when you go to the photo. So let's do this. All right, so this is the cover image. Hold on a second. So in Pontresina, this is the cover. You'll see the cover image here is of the skateboarder, but I click on that particular page, and now it has me with Putin and Biden. Then the photos are in the order that I want. And then when you go looking through the photographs, you'll see, here's this photograph, and down here at the bottom, you'll see that the title has been put on the page as well. Okay. A couple other things that you can do. There's a thing called a favillon, and I'll show you what that is in a second. As a matter of fact, let me do this. Well, let's so a favillon is this. See this little where it says Adobe Portfolio? This little icon right here, I believe that is called a favillon or favillon. Maybe Mike, maybe somebody can correct me. So if you want that on your web page, all you have to do is go to settings, and you'll see where it says, oh, favicon. I'm sorry, favicon. And you can upload an image. It has to be a very small image. So I'm going to upload an image. My images happen to be um, very small, my little coyote. And you'll see when the thing gets published that if you were to open it up in a web browser, you would see that that little favicon will be right there. And it might, we'll go through my web page in just a second, you'll see that there's a little coyote howling at the moon. We've talked about reordering page content. A couple other things that we can do too. We can actually go to settings, and then let's see. You can password protect your entire web page. I don't recommend you do that, but I did. You can actually go to a particular page, and what'll happen if you go over here to the what I call kind of the main page here, or the main control box, go to pages. Remember, we're putting everything under work. So here's our letters, photographs, our Pontresina photographs, our Milan photographs, and our numbers photographs, what you can do is actually protect any one of these. So, for example, I went to Auschwitz and took photographs there, but I didn't want those broadcast other than to some very close friends who would take a look at the photographs. I didn't want for a whole bunch of reasons. And so I protected that so I could just share the password with some of my friends. So it is possible to edit the page and set a password just for that particular um, page, which, you know, ultimately I just removed all the photographs anyway. So that is possible to do. The other thing that is possible is to get a custom domain name. The domain name of my meager website is called hipcoyote.com. And so I just went to domain name. Here you go. Here's the custom domain name. If you already have a domain that you want to use, you can attach it here, or you can purchase a domain. I forget who ultimately I got it through, whatever Adobe recommended. It was very cheap. It was like $13 a year or something. It wasn't very much. So all you do, go to domain name, purchase a domain, and then you can start searching around to find out what domain is available. And then you type in the domain, it says it's available, you purchase it, and ultimately Adobe will marry up your new domain name to this particular website. I'm sorry to move my mouse so much. Part of the Zoom stuff is on top of me here. There are cookie banners that you can do. There's some other site options. You can change other aspects of Lightroom if you want to, the way it appears, etc. I avoided all of that. Simply just wanted my little bit of my photography to be seen by some of my friends, maybe a little bit of social media. That's it. All right. So let's take a look at what this particular web page would look like. So this is kind of our main control box here. Let's publish the website. It says your site is live. And right now, the site address is rweb767a, whatever all that is, at myportfolio.com. So let's take a look at what this site looks like. And again, I kind of like the full page, so I always hit F11. So this is where, when you go to the website, this is what you first see. Oh, I want to send Rick Webb an email. Okay, I submitted it. Let's go back to the work, or we go back to the home page. Let's jump in. Let's take a look at his photos are. Here's his letters. Yeah, really cool. And you'll recall that we changed the cover photograph for this particular page. Same thing with Pontresina. Okay, so that's all working. Let's go back to work. Milan Zermatt. There we go. So everything seems to be working. If you do want to have a page of narrative, I could show you how to do that. I don't know if anybody's interested in that. All pretty easy. A couple other things that we can do. Well, let's see. A couple other things we can do is we can preview it. And so this is what the website looks like on the average desktop computer. But if you look down here, you will see some icons that make kind of a sense. This is what the web page would look, or the website would look like on an iPad in portrait mode. landscape mode. Here's a iPhone or a Droid, iPhone or Droid. Okay, so let's go back to editing. And that is pretty much about the most simple web page that you could possibly do. There's other aspects of this. You can add videos, music, those types of things. I opted not to do that. I just, as a matter of fact, I think I'm going to teach a course on making collections in the field using Lightroom, the mobile application off of a phone. I can pretty much go on a trip, um, upload photographs to my iPhone. I edit them in Lightroom on my iPhone, and because I have a pretty big um, amount of data available through my Adobe Cloud, it's automatically synced. I get home, open up the photographs, edit them a little bit more, and then I can publish it to the website very quickly. That's all I wanted to do. Didn't want to do any video, didn't want to have any music or that kind of stuff. So this is exactly what I did on my particular website. Are there any questions?
Couple of
Go ahead.
questions.
Yeah.
Is there a limit to the number of photos you can put in any page, or is it
No,
unlimited?
I don't believe so. I don't believe so. Because I think what happens is that Adobe is not uploading. If I believe the way that works is if you upload a photo via the mobile, like an iPhone, that's actually uploading the entire photograph. Because when I come home from a trip, I actually am downloading full size raw photos that I had uploaded. But I believe that, let's say you're on a laptop uh, making collections out of Lightroom Classic, which is the desktop version. I believe it is just a like a virtual copy that's getting uploaded. So I don't believe there's a an upper limit.
And can you change the order of the pages in your
You
display?
can, you can. So what you can do here, let's go to, this is our, remember this is kind of our main screen. Go to pages. You can also have other collections other than work, and you can rename work like I did here. You'll, even though it's under here, it's called work. Let's go here. We can rename this to anything else, right? But let's go back. So under our this particular page or box, go to pages, and let's say we want to make Milan's or Mott to be the first uh, photographs that you see. So all you do is drag it up there, and you will now see that Milan's or Mott is first up. Letters is next. Pontresine is next. Go to pages. I don't think letters is all that exciting, so I'm going to move Pontresina to the very top, and I want Milan number 2. All you have to do is drag and drop. Very, very simple. Does that make sense to everybody?
Yeah.
Okay. So what I typically do, since I've literally made probably 20 web pages. We're done with this. I just delete the site. I'm not going to use it anymore. You can have up to 5 sites with your Adobe subscription. So this is my site. Um, I put my photograph here. It can be small or big. I had a little bit of narrative here. Instead of having the buttons side by side, I had the buttons one on top of each other. Um, I think for pages, um, these are all the pages that I had. I typically, my stuff is wrapped around um, travel. Some people, they have birds, cats, dogs, whatever, however they want to collect it. And of course, you can have you went to Egypt, but you also want to have a compilation of little kids. You can have another collection of little kids. Obviously, you can have any number of ways to organize your photographs. Down here, I actually created another separate page where I talked about equipment, which I finally just deleted. I didn't think it was important. I didn't think I had all that much insight. The other thing you can do too is you can turn on and off pages. If for some reason you go, I'm going to be working on this page, I don't want to delete it, but I want to work on it for a couple of weeks, you can just go over there, turn it off, and it won't show up on your live site, but it's the photographs are still there. Um, so that works pretty well. The other thing that you can do, rather than having your name up here, you can actually have a little, uh, this is my favicon, and but it also uploaded it as, rather than having Richard Webb here, where you would click on it, it would go to my work. I just wanted a little graphic, but same thing here, just hover over it and that's what you get. Very simple.